covering all of the DMV. This is DC News Now.
And good afternoon, and thank you for joining us for DC News Now at 4.
Here's a look at today's top stories all across the DMV.
Yeah, new details about the deadly double shooting in DC yesterday that claimed the life of a pregnant mother. We're also learning the other man shot is a fugitive wanted in Virginia. We'll hear from the victim's mother.
Plus, a Loudoun County School Board member is suing the board and her colleagues. She says they failed to accommodate her disability and denied her access to certain activities. Tonight, we have details on her demands.
And more long-distance flights could be coming to Reagan National Airport, but not everyone's happy about that. Why lawmakers are pushing back on the proposal. Thanks for joining us on this great Friday afternoon. For DC News Now at 4, I'm Mark Hall.
And I'm Annalisa Gale. It's a DMV First Warn Day. We're tracking some storms all across our area that may be affecting your evening plans. Let's take a look outside. This is a live look here at Hagerstown, I believe.
Yeah, and my goodness, you know, we got a chance to escape the rain earlier today. I think that system missed us, but I'm going to stop there because we have someone else who's more qualified to talk about the weather than me, meteorologist Damon Matson. Damon, happy Friday.
Happy Friday, and hey, Mark, you are kind of right in that regard here. We've lucked out across much of the DMV because there's been a lot going on around us over toward Philadelphia. Very, very intense storms earlier on this morning into the afternoon and down to our south toward Richmond as well. What you see here in the yellow boxes, that's a severe thunderstorm watch that includes King George, St. Mary's, Spotsylvania counties until 9 o'clock. But that's not where the activity currently is going on. We're finally seeing storms fire up across the heart of the DMV, and we do have one active severe thunderstorm warning here that goes until 4:30 p.m. It includes Clark, Loudoun, Jefferson, and Berkeley counties here. This storm is centered just off to the east of Route 340 near Berryville over toward Charlestown. Again, this thing has a very intense looking hail core right here in the pink and purple, and really the main threats with this storm are hail and also damaging wind gusts up to 60 miles an hour. This is moving right through Wickliffe over toward Riverside. It's riding right along that Virginia, West Virginia line here, and it's going to continue to move off to the south and east over the next several minutes to almost half hour at this point. We've been keeping an eye on a couple other cells, one that's right over Berkeley Springs at the moment. This has been dropping south and east. It's been wavering in intensity, so no severe thunderstorm warning with this, but it's following Route 522 here, and it could bring about 30 to 40 mile per hour wind gusts. And then finally, we have another intense cell just north of Culpeper on Route 229. It looks like Catalpa right there and moving over toward Brandy Station, going to see the impact from this system over the next 15 to 20 minutes. So a few storms so far we're tracking across the area, but could things get a little more intense as we go throughout the evening? And if so, what will those storms bring in terms of impact? We'll let you know the latest coming up in your full forecast here in just a bit.
All right, Damon, thank you. New details tonight about that double shooting in D.C. that claimed the life of a pregnant mother.
Yeah, this afternoon we're learning her baby is still in critical condition. We're also learning that the other man hurt in that shooting was wanted in Virginia. This all happened just after noon on 37th Street in Southeast Washington. We're told two men approached a parked car with assault rifles and started firing. Yeah, our
Leonard N. Fleming spoke with the woman's mother as she fights to come to grips with what's happened.
It's a very sad day for the Gill family, and it's a family that is overcome with grief. I spoke to the mother of Samaya, and she said the family is completely devastated, and one of her daughters was being treated by paramedics due to all the stress of her death.
DC police are still searching for two men who opened fire Thursday morning on the car a pregnant Samaya Gill was traveling in with a male companion in Southeast DC. Gill, 22, later died at a hospital, police say, and investigators have not yet figured out a motive for the broad daylight attack that an assistant police chief called brazen and heinous. Authorities have released pictures of the getaway car and the assailants, but have not put video footage out because a spokesperson says it doesn't provide any investigative value. Gill's baby remains in critical condition, but is stable, police say.
Samaya's mother writes online about the emotional toll this has had on the family. and how she needs to step up financially and emotionally for baby Zaylee. Reporting from Fort Washington, Maryland, Leonard N. Fleming, DC News Now. Back to you.
All right, thanks, Leonard. Also new tonight, the man shot and killed on K Street in Southwest D.C. yesterday has now been identified as 18-year-old Calico Ford. Police responded to the shooting just before 4 p.m. Ford died at the scene. A $25,000 reward is being offered for information leading to an arrest. And police in Anne Arundel are looking for 3 men who vandalized a Black Lives Matter sign at a church in Odenton. These are the photos of those suspects. Investigators say this happened around 10 p.m. on Tuesday at the Ark and Dove Presbyterian Church on Piney Orchard Parkway. If you know those men in the photos, police are asking you to give them a call.
Well, a Loudoun County school board member is suing her school district and her fellow board members. At-large member Denise Corbo says that the board is violating ADA laws by not allowing her to participate remotely. Northern Virginia reporter Haley Milan has more on the impact on Loudoun residents.
Corbo is the only at-large member on the Loudoun County School Board, which means she represents all the citizens of Loudoun County. Today I spoke with her attorney, who says that while it's not a fact of this lawsuit, her not being allowed to participate in meetings effectively disenfranchises the people in the county. The suit filed in U.S. District Court this week states that Corbo's fellow board members denied her remote participation in board meetings 22 times so far in 2023. Fellow board members took issue with Corbo attending some public appearances in person, but not board meetings. Her attorney, Matt Hughes, says she suffers from Lyme disease and other autoimmune disorders. The board offered accommodations, including a plexiglass covering for her seat in the boardroom and a HEPA air filter located nearby. Hughes says Corbo's medical provider didn't approve of the accommodations and recommends continued virtual participation. Law requires employers make reasonable accommodations for disabilities if they're not unduly burdensome. Hughes says the board is violating that law and it's harmful to citizens.
Any elected official is not able to participate, vote, make their stance known. It's something that's, of course, very important to her as an elected official and very important to her constituents.
The district does not have any comment on this lawsuit per its policy on not commenting on ongoing litigation. In Chantilly, Haley Milan, DC News Now.
And right now, Virginians are breathing a sigh of relief this afternoon. The chief security officer at the state's IT agency says the area has not been affected by the recent cyber attacks targeting federal and state government agencies, the U.S. Department of Energy, and at least 5 states confirming they're victims of an elaborate cyber attack, compromising personal data, including Social Security numbers. Many Virginians are now left wondering if their information is at risk. Michael Watson, chief security officer with the state's IT agency, says you have nothing to worry about.
Fortunately, so far we have not seen any major impacts. We have some third parties that we're aware of, that we work with, that we're monitoring and talking to make sure that they're, not experiencing anything super significant. But within the actual environment so far, we've been fortunate that it hasn't been anything major.
If a government agency is hacked, they are required to alert you if you are a victim. Mark?
Thank you, Annalisa. Well, a push to bring more long-distance flights to Reagan National appears to have momentum. The Washington Post is reporting an important Senate committee has a tentative deal to bring 4 new flights to the airport. But those efforts have received some pushback, including from a bipartisan group of politicians in the DMV. Northern Virginia Bureau reporter Max Marcilla has more.
The initial proposal was for between 14 and 28 new flights here at Reagan National. With this apparent compromise, any discussions will be held off for the next few weeks, but opponents of this plan say adding any new flights to Reagan National is the wrong move. A key reason for concern over this plan comes from an FAA memo, which says the additional flights would likely have a negative impact on passenger experience, meaning potentially more delays. All 4 senators in Maryland and Virginia raised concerns with the plan, including worries of the impact it could have on neighboring Dulles Airport, which traditionally handles the long-distance flights.
National Airport is bursting at its seams in terms of capacity. And the Commonwealth has invested literally billions upon billions to get Metro Rail to Dulles.
But Brian Walsh with the advocacy group Capital Access Alliance says adding 4 long-distance flights would be a start to an important change at DCA.
For far is would be a step in the right direction, but from our perspective, it still falls well short of what's needed. The real reason there's some people are opposing this, and that's an unwillingness to have more competition.
There are also concerns from people living here in Northern Virginia that adding any number of flights will increase the noise that they hear from their homes. On the other side, people say adding these flights is crucial to making sure travelers have more options. Reporting at Gravelly Park, Max Marcella, DC News Now.
Thanks, Max. Well, Monday marks the newest federal holiday, Juneteenth. It's a day that millions of Americans are still learning about. It acknowledges the moment that a group of African Americans in Galveston, Texas, found out that they were free.
Yeah, it happened on June 19th, 1865, over 2 years after the Emancipation Proclamation was signed. And there's plenty of ways to celebrate the holiday this weekend. Our Tanaya Wright gives us a look at just a few.
Monday marks Juneteenth, and it celebrates the last remaining enslaved people in Texas receiving their freedom after the Emancipation Proclamation in 1865. Taking a look at some of the events happening around the DMV, first in D.C. Tomorrow, Metro Bar will have live art and local vendors for their Chocolate City Juneteenth Art Market. It starts at noon on Rhode Island Avenue Northeast. Then on Sunday, there will be reparations rally at the Sylvan Theater. That starts at noon at the theater on the National Mall. And some other events happening around the area in Virginia. Tomorrow, the Prince William County chapter of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity is hosting the Juneteenth celebration and barbecue. That starts at 1 p.m. at Merchant Park in Dumfries. Then on Sunday, Walk Arlington is hosting a Black Heritage Walk to honor Juneteenth. That starts at 1 p.m. at Towers Park. And in Maryland, tomorrow, Charles County Juneteenth Committee has their 4th annual Freedom Day. That starts at 1 p.m. at the Waldorf Center in Waldorf. Finally, on Sunday, the Extraordinary Investment Group has their 3rd annual Black Business Expo. That is going to feature more than 60 Black-owned businesses. That starts at 11 a.m. at Veterans Plaza in Silver Spring. And D.C. police are closing off parts of 17th Street tomorrow for the Juneteenth for the city event. 17th Street between Good Hope Road and T Street in Southeast will be closed to traffic from 9 a.m. until 7 p.m. Then on Monday, police will also shut down parts of Vermont Avenue for the Juneteenth Music Festival. Vermont Avenue will be closed between T Street and U Street Northwest between 6:30 a.m. and 11 p.m. In the studio, Tanaya Wright, DC News Now.